Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wyatt Price, and I've got my wife, Sapphire, here. Welcome back, Sapphire.
Hello.
Today we are going to talk about Cars 2, the computer animated sequel to Disney's hit movie. I had not seen it since it came out in 2011. That's actually a pretty surprising gap between the first and the second one. What was it, like 2005 when it was first released? When the first one was released?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
I think it was 2006.
Okay.
Maybe.
So for some context, whenever Cars 2 came up, he sort of implied that he thought it got a bad rap. And then we watched it, and he came away with a different opinion.
So Cars 2, just off the top of my head, it was underwhelming. It was ham-fisted and forced. Do you agree it was not good?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Not good or not as good?
Not good.
Yeah. It was certainly more action-oriented and less about the story and characters, at least the development of the characters. There's really not much progression except for with Mater. And the premise just begins to wear really thin. The first movie with cars as people, I was like, fine. But with the second one, it just feels more unbelievable and really silly. The first one is about American car culture. With this one, they had to take it somewhere, and this was it. It's very violent. Not only does the car agent die, the agent car die, but the other one just busts out guns and starts shooting the bad guys. He's blowing up the other cars. There's a
torture scene.
Yeah, there's a torture scene. There's a scene where a bad guy gangster car falls off the oil rig and he very obviously dies when he hits the water. It's violent as hell for a Disney movie.
They show one of the cars' dead bodies, like, crushed into a cube.
You would never see them do this with people or animals, but because they're mechanical, it's okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people sort of have a different take when it's, robots or even cars, even if they're, personified in the movie. I kind of don't. Like, my brain doesn't quite split off like that. So it was a little bit of an interesting watch for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, we saw a car corpse, and I was like, that sure is a dead sentient creature right there. Wow.
Yeah. The movie starts out with a secret agent scene on an oil rig, and you can tell that the rig is nasty and dirty. And I remember when we watched this movie, I said to you, there's an environmental message to this movie. It's anti-oil, and of course cars run on oil. This movie is filled with a lot of weird contradictions to its messages. Disney operates very much on stereotypes. Kids who are 5 or 6 years old are going to take in these tropes and view them as fact. The heroic secret agent is British. The idiot pickup truck is an American redneck. And who are the foot soldiers of this operation? Chicago accented, crappy American cars.
This film also has sort of a weird disability, sort of a weird take on disability, just like the first one did. Obviously, again, I think you could certainly read Mater as autistic, and so some of the jokes maybe feel a little insensitive, to people who have trouble in social situations. Also, so the bad guys are lemons. Obviously cars who somewhere along the line in their manufacturing, they just don't work, right? So the real world counterpart would be people born with disabilities. And the movie explains that the world of cars doesn't make parts for the lemons because they go through the parts so quickly that it's not really able, it just takes too much energy to, fix them. Which obviously that's sort of what happens in the real world, but in a world of sentient creatures, what a weird plot point.
Yeah, it is weird.
People with, chronic illnesses in the real world, we don't stop making medicine for them because it's too inconvenient. So the Lemons' whole plight of like, oh, we can't get healthcare, is weird. In fact, in real life, the healthcare community thrives on making medicine for people with chronic disability. So it was sort of a weird villain motivation.
Yeah. They make him a little bit too sympathetic if you think about it. There's all these tropes that Disney operates with. They're the most ham-fisted, unsubtle characterizations because it's for kids. But a child comes to understand these things and they get reinforced by these movies. Then they grow up.
Absolutely.
Everything is over the top and stereotyped, not in the ethnic sense because that would be bad. But when it comes to American stereotypes, you can lampoon them and mock them. All the bad guys are American mobsters. Later they are Russian gangsters. The second in command bad guy is German. The main bad guy is a wealthy British industrialist. So onto the plot. The main plot is that there is a World Cup and Lightning McQueen is kind of pushed into it by Mater, his tow truck friend, because some Italian race car is talking trash about him. So they race in all these countries, and they are all European countries with all these over-the-top ethnic stereotypes.
And Japan.
And Japan. They don't go to Africa or Mexico and all like, hey, I say I'm the beaner car. No. And this race car is the smug Italian who laughs at the silly Americans. Of course, Mater is the stupid American hick, which is a common thing we see, is that Mater is a damn idiot. Yet somehow he bumbles into success again and again. And he calls the race car and basically enters Lightning McQueen into the race with his stupid mouth. One thing that is weird about this movie is that alternative fuel is a big plot point, but they never talk about emissions. They talk about alternative fuel, but they never talk about why alternative fuel. But it turns out that McQueen's fuel, and it's so convoluted, the bad guy invents the fuel, but he's also looking to discredit the fuel so that people will buy oil because he still owns oil. So why did you just not invent the fuel to begin with?
Well, he was trying to, he made the fuel really quickly, and he was trying to get it in the public's mind so that when they thought about alternative fuel, they thought about him and sort of take the attention away from other people who were trying to legitimately make alternative fuel. The movie does not say this, obviously, but I think that's what they were going for. So that when his initiative failed, it would sort of sour everyone's opinion on it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't considered that. I thought it was just really silly, but...
Well, the movie, again, didn't really explain that. That was
Sure.
sort of my take.
Right. So the bad guys are using a beam cannon that blows up cars that use the alternative fuel. But it turns out that McQueen's fuel was somehow switched to the hippie van's fuel by the military truck because he didn't want to support big oil. Like, what do you think you run on? He wouldn't touch the stuff in the first movie, but now he seems to have warmed up to the hippie van. All conservatives become liberals. A couple characters from the first movie are absent from this one. Doc is implied to have died somehow. Lightning's girlfriend is barely in this movie. She's in the beginning and the end when she sees the Italian car. She soaks her panties about him. Again, I mentioned this last time. How do cars have sex?
I'm not talking about that.
You don't want to think about it? I'm sure that there's Rule 34 about it somewhere, but I don't want to look it up. Oh my goodness. And furthermore, there are multiple references in the movie to cars being made in factories. So how is there any kind of sexual differences at all? And why? It just gets really weird.
And if cars are made in factories, then why do they make lemons?
Yeah. Because they're cheap? And how did cars become a thing in the first place? There's a theory out there, I'm sure.
Is there that'd be like people in our world specifically trying to have babies that have diabetes? I guess some people are sort of jokingly trying with the whole Tylenol thing that's going on right now.
Yeah. I don't believe in any of that, but it's funny to see them try to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since there's, no matter how unlikely it is, there's the option, there's the
chance.
The chance
Yeah.
of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea that it fully causes autism isn't true. That's the
right. That's not the cause.
Right. But in theory, it's possible there is a correlation, but I haven't seen good evidence about it.
This movie is weirdly sexual at times, though.
The whole Cars universe.
Right? Because
a little bit.
When we see the British girl agent, it made her all, "Oh, you sure are pretty." It zooms in on these big, sexy porn star lips.
Did it do that?
It did. So how exactly does this all work? What is her name? I think it's Holly Shiftwell.
Yeah, I think so.
Which sounds like Shagwell from Austin Powers.
No, you think that's what they were going for?
It's also probably a reference to Bond girl Holly Goodhead.
I don't want to talk about Bond girls.
Goodhead. Those lips, man. The lead agent is voiced by, we all love him as Alfred from the Batman Nolan movies. So yeah, the race is going on, and there's kind of three plots here. The race is going on, and that's plot one, and Lightning McQueen is involved in that. Then two, you've got Mater, the tow truck, and Lightning McQueen's friendship. And Lightning is kind of having to come to terms with Mater being kind of an idiot and a buffoon. And they have a falling out a little bit of ways into the movie. And the third is the secret agents trying to foil the evil organization's plan. The bad guys, by the way, are really crappy cars, which you mentioned, that are collectively called lemons, and nobody likes them, so they want revenge. That's another trope. Instead of... See, you say that they have sympathy for them, but they don't really talk about that a lot. There's that one scene where they mention that they feel like they're victims, but that's kind of it, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like in most other movies you would have had like a conflicted character that's on the bad guy side, or
I agree. They don't do a good job of making them sympathetic.
Someone would have had a redemption arc, I feel, if they were really trying to go for the sympathy route. Because I feel that they're usually just obviously bad and terrible. This is where Disney operates one-dimensionally. You have these things that are fundamentally inferior to the successful vehicles that dominate the planet, and they are hateful and will murder anyone to attain superiority. They are part of a shadowy conspiracy that spans all the nations and uses its wealth and influence behind the scenes and is not adverse to murderous violence. So this movie is stupid, And the suspension of disbelief is hard to maintain. You can watch the first movie and enjoy it. This movie is just stupid action, and Mater is a stupid character who just lucks his way into everything. One thing that really annoyed me while watching this was the bullcrap "be yourself" message.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was so silly.
Mater is actively ruining Lightning's career with his stupidity.
Yeah.
And the movie acts like that's okay because it's who he is.
There's a really big difference between being yourself and acting a certain way in social situations, or, not letting the flaws inherent in yourself hurt the people around you. That's a line that I think some people don't understand. So yeah, there's a scene where Mater has Lightning get second in a race because he was sort of coaching Lightning over the comms, and then he ends up getting distracted, and then Lightning is understandably upset afterwards, and then Mater gets hurt, and the movie makes Lightning out to be the bad guy, as if Mater getting distracted during a very important event wasn't the problem with that situation. I'm not saying get upset at people, but Mater is also not in the clear in this. And the idea that Lightning was somehow preventing him from being himself, or like being upset at who he was, that's just a completely different issue.
Yeah. We've got almost 2 generations of people raised on the whole "be yourself" message. The world will accept you for who you are, and especially with women, I think that men are taught to be really almost submissive and to do everything that women want.
Yeah.
And in reality, none of that works. So societal pressure and shame exist for a reason.
Right.
They exist to instill successful behaviors that have until recently taken your people to a certain position.
Right.
And if you want to reject all that, then you're throwing that away. Stop being gay. That's really the fundamental idea there. Imagine if Julius Caesar just quit because it was easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I remember when we were engaged, and a lot of people kept telling you, happy wife, happy life, right? Sort of like do whatever she says to make her happy. And, obviously compromise is a part of marriage. It's a part of our marriage, but that always felt a little wrong to me, that, my feelings should be sort of the dominant thing happening in our relationship.
Right. Yeah, I certainly was raised on that idea. Happy wife, happy life. And it just doesn't really work.
Not that I'm not happy, but...
Well, that's good. I'm happy too. Anyway, this was such a weird movie. There was no real theme apart from this Mater thing and this environmentalist crap. It's very simplistic. A kid is going to see this and go, oh, oil is bad and alternative fuel is good. And they aren't going to be asking, why is it better? What's it made of? What kind of return investment am I going to get? Because if it is ethanol, then that is not an energy source. You are putting almost as much energy into the production of that fuel as you get out of it. From an environmentalist standpoint, none of this crap works. The production of the chemicals needed to make electric car batteries does a lot of damage to the earth, for example. By the way, I already mentioned this, but all of the races take place in Japan, Italy, France, and England. And all the cars that we meet are European. They don't have a Chinese car. There is zero representation of non-white or non-Japanese cars. They chose not to represent them because we have a culture that preaches European superiority. There is a great European world out there, and these countries are the homelands of European civilization, and they remain such, while America is shown to be a very multicultural society with no roots. In many ways, Europe is still in the mid-20th century. Maybe it's a good thing that no Africans were represented, because they probably would have shown them with a bone through their nose, or communicating only through horns or car door clicks, click click. Europeans. If you like the first movie, you should watch the second movie. It can be really fun. It's not even close to as good as the first, because the themes aren't as strong. And the first is basically a celebration of American car culture. I have no desire to see Cars 3. I'm sure it will be even worse. I'll probably never watch this movie again until we have kids.
Yeah. It's funny, I had sort of a different experience going in, where I sort of thought this was the worst Pixar movie, because I'd only seen it one time, and then I watched it, and I was like, okay, well, it's not the worst Pixar movie.
What do you think is the worst Pixar movie?
Oh boy, I'd have to say The Good Dinosaur. It is so boring.
I have not seen that, because it looked so bad and bland.
You know me,
and generic.
I can handle boring. I can handle boring pretty good. That movie is so boring. And it has a really weird message.
Is it lazy? Is it a lazy movie?
Oh man. No, I wouldn't say it's a lazy movie. I mean, the animation is incredible. It feels more like a tech demo. It just feels like they didn't spend much time with the story.
Okay. So what's your favorite then? This is a little off topic, but
my favorite Pixar movie is The Incredibles. I think that it has the most heart to it of all the Pixar movies, and it has the most themes that I relate. I think a lot of other Pixar movies have like moments that I really enjoy, like obviously the opening to Up, or the end of Toy Story 3, but I feel The Incredibles is just so strong throughout, and there's so many emotional moments. All the characters are written so well. It's so beautifully animated.
It also takes place in the 50s, so we get to see that.
Yeah, the Americana.
Love that culture. And they're still not racist, and that's great. Better world at the time. From the perspective of, will you let your kid watch this? It's not that bad. It's not offensive. There's not a lot of degeneracy in your face. The movie had a couple funny puns. They call Big Ben Big Bentley. The Japanese bathroom scene was funny.
I liked some of the action.
Yeah, the action's phenomenal.
Yeah, I actually thought the action was pretty good. Pope Car is very funny.
Oh, gosh. Don't even... this has been mentioned on YouTube so many times, but if Catholicism exists, is there a car Jesus?
There has to be a car Jesus.
How does that work? How do you... These are the questions that we want answers to, Pixar.
Give us a car Jesus movie.
I love history. I want a Revolutionary War Cars movie. See how that works.
Jalopy of Nazareth.
Oh my gosh. I really like doing these kids movie reviews. I feel like adult movies would be too in your face about its themes, so there's way less to analyze.
I'm also having a lot of fun.
We could watch the Lion King remake or WALL-E.
No, I boycott Disney remakes. The Disney live action movies do not exist in my watching ability, so it'd have to be WALL-E.
Okay, yeah. That sounds fun. We should do that soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.